All right, everyone. Hello and welcome in. Thank you for joining me on this fine Wednesday afternoon. And if you're new around here, Wednesday means it is time to continue our midweek routine here at SKOLhio, and that is the NFL Pickem video heading into the next week of NFL action, which officially kicks off tomorrow with the Thursday night game between the Rams and the Seahawks. So if you're new around here, hello. This is the board. Those of you that have been with us already know this board very well. This is how I orient this schedule for the week, and I will be making selections on the board that you can follow along with as the video progresses. To indicate which picks I'm going to be making, I will use team pendants. I have it turned around so I don't spoil any selections. I'll place them on the board for the team that I am picking. Reminder, this is head-to-head. There is no spread. There is no points involved with this. This is just picking who is going to win for this weekend of NFL action. So before we get into making picks, I want to get everybody up to speed, do a little recap to let everyone know how I've been doing so far. So last week, kind of brutal. There was a lot of upsets. I ended up going 9-7 for week 4. And overall on the season, that brings me to 39-25. So that is my second week of 9-7 so far this season, and I hope to avoid more of those. Last week, I uploaded the video. I thought, man, I went like pretty straight chalk with all of my picks, but I was like, it's already uploaded. We'll just play it out and see what happens. So the teams that I correctly picked to win last week include the Bengals, the Washington football team, the Bills, the Cowboys, the Chiefs, the Ravens, Packers, Bucks, and Chargers. Did very well with the second half of the Sunday action and the primetime games. Teams I incorrectly picked: the Lions. I've been trying to predict that their first win for a number of weeks now. It hasn't happened. The Dolphins, the Vikings. I am terrible at picking Vikings games this year. I don't think I've got one of them right. The Saints, who got upset last week. The Titans, who got upset last week with a missed field goal at the end of the game against the New York Jets to give them their first win of the season. I missed on the Rams and the 49ers. So pretty tough week. I didn't see any of the upsets coming. I went straight chalk. I was like, okay, I know who these teams are. I'm going to go with all of the favorites, and that ended up backfiring. So still a winning record last week at 9-7, but I would like to improve on that to get the margin a little bit larger, if you will. So that is the update. Throw the notebook away because we don't need that anymore. So feel free to follow along here on the board as we go through the picks. Let's start making selections. We begin with tomorrow night's Thursday night football game between the Rams and the Seahawks. I don't see the Rams losing 2 in a row, especially to a division rival. I think that this is going to be a get-right game for them. They need to really get Robert Woods more involved in the offense. And this isn't just me grumbling because I have him in fantasy football. I think they just need to spread the ball around more. They're becoming predictable with what they're doing with their offense because it's the Cooper Cup of Coffee show. And the Seahawks, I think, caught lightning in a bottle last week. I still think that this is a team that doesn't quite have itself figured out. Maybe they will later on. But for this matchup, I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Rams to win on Thursday Night Football. Next, we have the Jets and the Falcons. How many people are really going to be paying attention to this game outside of fantasy circles? The Jets got their win of the season last week that I don't think anybody saw coming. I especially didn't. I don't speak for everyone. The Falcons are the better team. They figured out a way to utilize Cordero Patterson in a way that no other team really ever could or wanted to. I mean, we saw flashes of brilliance here and there, but he's basically the focal point of their offense, which is kind of sus in and of itself because you figure Arthur Smith is supposed to come in with all of these rad weapons. But the problems have just been the offensive line for the Falcons and the fact that Matt Ryan might be cooked, although he's playing at least a lot better than some of his aging counterparts like Ben Roethlisberger, which we'll get to in a minute. So the disappearance of Calvin Ridley is pretty concerning. But I think given the fact that the Falcons have the much more talented roster, I'm going to go with them getting the win this time over the Jets. Next, we have the Packers and the Bengals, a very intriguing matchup to see how well the Bengals continue throughout their season. After 1 month, they are currently at top of the AFC North Division with a 3-1 record. I think that they're basically in first place based on strength of schedule or conference or something like that because there's 3 teams tied at 3-1, the Browns, Bengals, and Ravens. The Packers just had a really good win. They're firing on all cylinders after their opening day debacle against the Saints. Hard for me to pick against the experience and the eliteness of Aaron Rodgers and this team. So I'm going to go with the Packers, and I'm going to say that Aaron Rodgers beats Joe Burrow in this head-to-head matchup. Okay, next we have the Minnesota Vikings hosting the Detroit Lions, their final home game of this 3-game homestand. And I don't know. I feel concerned, but the fact that the Lions have a lot of their key players going on injured reserve, they're not going to be available for this week. I mean, just look at the names. Basically, the top half of their roster is all injured, and it sucks because you would rather see them at full strength to see what they're really capable of. And I've been pounding the drum for Dan Campbell for the entirety of the season because, it was easy to make fun of him and have him be the butt of jokes after his initial press conferences with the team. But I believe the players are buying into the system, so I think it's going to be, the success is going to come. It's just going to take a while. I'm going to say the Vikings win this game. They're going to get back into the win column after a disappointing loss to the Cleveland Browns at home. It can't happen, right? Like, the Vikings can't let the Lions come into their stadium and hand them their first win of the season. There's no way. There's just no way. The Vikings have got to win this one. It's got to be, right? It has to be. Next, we have the Broncos and the Steelers. The Steelers haven't been good. They've been pretty good in some areas, but Ben Roethlisberger is cooked. That arm of his is dead. I've been seeing the statistics in the film, and he's barely able to get the ball down the field, and they don't attempt it that much anymore. So, but the fact is that I don't think that Teddy Bridgewater is going to be available for this game against the Steelers. So I think it's going to be Drew Lock going. I'm not sure on that. It's still Wednesday. Things can change. But I think with a home game, against a team that's played a pretty soft schedule up until this point, I'm going to give the edge to the Steelers and say that they pick up a victory, and then the Steelers fans start to feel a little bit better about themselves. Next, we have the Bucs and the Dolphins. Not going to spend too much time on this one. The Dolphins lost last week to the Indianapolis Colts. I think that that's a tragedy in and of itself. I had higher expectations for the Dolphins this year. Continuing to take my own advice, and that is not to bet against Tom Brady, so I'm going to go with the Bucs in this matchup. Next, we have the Saints and the Washington football team. Saints seem to be struggling a little bit this year in the post-Drew Brees era. I don't know if this is an upset, but I'm going to go with the Washington football team. I just got a feeling that they're going to win one at home against the Saints. I don't know why. I can't justify it. It's just a gut feeling, and I'm going to go with it. Next, we have the Eagles and the Panthers, both teams that are playing pretty well. The Panthers have had I want to say a little bit of an easier schedule. They're probably going to get Christian McCaffrey back. They've traded for C.J. Henderson. Today, they just traded for Stephon Gilmore, which was wild, but I don't think he can come off the physically unable to perform list until week 6, so he's not going to be available for this week. However, I don't know. I think the resurrection or the resurgence of Sam Darnold in a new environment is for real, because he's still got great weapons like DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson. I'm still waiting for the breakout of Terrace Marshall. I think that's going to happen eventually. But if they get Christian McCaffrey back, I don't see how the Panthers lose this game. The Eagles will put up a fight, but it'll be close. But I'm going to give the edge to the home team, and that's going to be the Carolina Panthers. Next, we have the Jaguars and the Titans. This one's easy. Not going to spend time on it. The Titans all the way. Woof. Did we all see what happened to Urban Meyer this past weekend? Pretty much losing the locker room, if you will. So, I don't know. I think the countdown has begun to see when Urban Meyer is off until his next project, off to his next project, which is probably going to be USC. But I don't know. I don't see it happen. I don't see the Titans losing 2 in a row to 2 of the worst football teams in the league. So I think they'll right the ship. Next, pretty much the same story. Not going to spend too much time on this one. I'm going to take the Patriots over the Texans. Texans are, give them credit. They're not rolling over this season despite all of their situations. So, but I think the fact that Bill Belichick is still the coach of the Patriots, and I think they have a better roster than the Texans. I think they'll be able to win this one as long as Mac Jones can take care of the football. Next, we have the Raiders and the Bears. It was just announced today that Justin Fields is going to be the starter for the Bears at quarterback for the indefinite future. Indefinite future, I don't know if that makes sense, but it is what it is. Justin Fields is the starter of the Chicago Bears. Matt Nagy finally made a smart decision. I'm tired of him being coy with everything. He just needs to just say what he wants to do and actually do it. So hopefully they game plan for him properly. The Raiders is a tough opponent, especially on the road. I'm going to go with the Raiders in this one. I'm going to say that they're going to get a bounce-back win this week against the Bears. Next, we have the Browns and the Chargers. The Browns just got off their game with the Vikings where they kind of escaped with an ugly win, if you will. Horrible game by Baker Mayfield. We all saw that. Browns cannot make the same mistakes that they made against the Vikings, against the Chargers, especially on the road. I'm going to say the Chargers win this game, so I'm going to go with Los Angeles and Justin Herbert to continue their winning ways this Sunday. Next, we have the Cowboys and the Giants. It's just a rivalry that doesn't feel relevant anymore. I'm going to go with the Cowboys. Better team, better quarterback, better offense. Did the Giants get their win? Yeah, they did. They're off the snide, but at the same time, it's not. I don't think the Giants are that impressive. They're not going to string wins together. They'll get a few here and there, but it ain't going to be this week. Next, we have the Cardinals and the 49ers. I think Trey Lance is going to be starting this weekend and playing in full. Cardinals are 4-0. They're legitimate. They're for real. How can you bet against perfect? I'm going to keep the perfect team perfect, and they're going to move to 5-0. I'll take the Cardinals all day. Bills and Chiefs. Very tough game to pick. I really like the Bills. Definitely one of the top contenders for the one of the spots in the Super Bowl from the AFC side this year. However, I think the Chiefs are going to win this one because of home field advantage. Kansas City is still a really tough place to play. And it's even harder when you're going up against a guy like Patrick Mahomes. Does Josh Gordon play this weekend? That's going to be a storyline I'll pay attention to, because they clearly need a wide receiver too to step up, because Mecole Hardman, Brian Pringle, I think his name is, they haven't been it. There's another guy that I'm missing, but I can't remember his name at this moment. But either way, they need somebody to step up. I'll take the Chiefs for the win in Week 5. That leaves us with the Monday night game between the Colts and the Ravens. I don't know what to make of the Colts. I don't know if the Dolphins are that bad, or if the Colts are good enough to, be a spoiler team to sneak out some wins here and there. But I think the Ravens are the much more talented team. They should definitely win this game on Monday night. I'm going to go with the Ravens. And let's just make a bold prediction that they continue the 100-yard rushing game streak this Monday night against the Colts. So those are my picks. Those are my justifications. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you in the next one.